Woodcraft, helping you make woodwork.
Ron Collier with Forrest Manufacturing. Forrest is an all-American made saw blade manufacturing company. We're located in Clifton, New Jersey. Been in business since 1946. We are now third generation family owned. Each blade is handcrafted to plus or minus 1,000ths. We use a sub-micro C4 carbide with 20% more carbide than other leading brands. This gives you 20% more life and less sharpening. Each Forrest saw blade does carry its own serial number, which enables us to have better quality control. Now we're going to go through each blade independently, leaving you know what its purpose is, tooth profile, and things of that nature. First blade we're going to talk about is going to be the 48 tooth. It's a general purpose blade. It has a 20-degree face hook, 25-degree alternate top. These are hand straightened to plus or minus 1,000ths. This higher alternate top that we have on these particular blades, or this particular blade, enables you to get exceptional cross-cutting. You can rip solid stock, hardwood or softwood, up to 1.5 inches. Glue line rip, no overcutting, no sanding or joining. It does a very good job on plies for ripping and cross-cutting. Finished plies, that is, also. It's available in thin and standard curve. And these blades are designed to be used on table saws or saws with slide tables. Now we're going to demonstrate the 10-inch, the 48 tooth. This blade here is the blade that we were talking about that just does exceptional cross-cutting. You can use it on table saws, you can use it on table saws with a slide because you're doing a tremendous amount of cross-cutting. But this blade will rip solid stock up to 1.5 inches. Perfect glue line rips. Now you're going to see me running a saw blade the way I like to run it, and I'm running it entirely different than what most people do. Most people will run their blade down like so, or lower yet, and they claim that's for safety purposes. The more heat you generate into your carbide, the quicker the carbide is going to start expanding. With your fence system in a locked position and this material between the blade and the fence, as it forces it into your system here, your fence system, it will start pinching, binding, and burning. By simply elevating your blade out of the material, and I'm going to use a disclaimer on this, run it any way you wish. This is critical, run it any way you wish. But by elevating this blade like this height here, just so my stabilizer or dampener does not hit this material, my carbide will run 300 to 500 degrees cooler. Therefore, it minimizes the heat expansion, forcing the material into your fence system. No heat, no buildup, no pinching, binding, or burning. All right, so with the blade elevated, and you notice I'm locking my fence system, my finger right into the fence system. Absolutely no need to sand or join. Perfect glue line rip with a 48 tooth. You have no need to touch this up whatsoever with any sandpaper or anything like that. It's ready for edge banding right now. Your cutoff, if you needed cutoffs, I use a thin curved blade because I particularly like them. You waste approximately 20%, 20 to 25% less stock with a thin curve than you do with a standard curve. If your machine is 2 horsepower or less, that puts 25% less resistance on your motor. So therefore, when you're doing your ripping or working on your lower powered machines, it's great to use a thin curved blade because you're just saving material and your machine performs properly. I will now drop the height of the blade so the tip is approximately 1 inch above the stock. And as I've done that, the angle changed that the material enters into the saw blade at. So now you will see precisely what we're referring to with beautiful, beautiful cross cuts on a 48 tooth that I just ripped with also. Here it is. I'm going to make another cross cut, and with that light there, possibly, just possibly, we may be able to show you exactly how clean these cuts are. Yeah. Can you possibly see the light through there. That's how clean that cut is. But yet you couldn't sand it to get it this smooth. If you sanded this piece of stock to get it this smooth, you would actually be filling the fibers into the pores of the wood, so you're not going to get the glue penetration that you normally would get, and you're not going to get as tight a bond. So therefore, coming directly from the machine, perfectly wide open cut, glue line ready, and it's ready for good adhesiveness. Now, if I were to cut plywoods with this same saw blade, even though it's not a blade designed to cut plywoods, but it does a very, very good job on it. If I didn't want to change blade and I didn't have a tremendous amount of plies to cut, run the blade down so the gullet is at the top of the material. What this does is it gives you a shallower stroke, again, per tooth. All right, now with your plies, use a little more moderate feed on it, don't force it. And this is what you can expect right here. Beautiful cut on plywoods. With this almost straight drop from the point down, the alternate point down, you're going to pick up the glues and things like that that's into the ply, and it will dull the blade much faster than what our 70 tooth will do, because this is the blade that the size are chamfered, this is not. So therefore this blade would dull faster cutting composites, plies, and things like that. But still, if you only have a few cuts to make, great blade for using. Remember, ripping, the higher you run your blade, the cooler the carbide will remain. When you cross-cut solid stock, solid material, for cross-cutting, run the tip of the blade approximately an inch above the material. And if you're going to cut plywoods with it, have the gullet at the top of the material. The old saying goes, thumbs up, the little pinky in the rocking chair. The blade that we're going to be looking at now is the 10-inch 40 tooth. This has a 20-degree face hook with only a 15-degree alternate top. It's a general purpose blade. It is hand straightened to plus or minus 1/1000ths, as all 4 saw blades are. This will give you glue line ripping up to 2 inches. It does a very good job cross-cutting with a moderate feed. It will do a good job on plywoods. This blade here is also available in thin and standard kerfs, and it should be used on table saws exclusively. This blade that we're going to be talking about now is the Woodworker 2. This is a 30 tooth blade. It carries the same 20-degree face hook and also has a 15-degree alternate top. This blade is designed exclusively for finish ripping solid stock up to 3 inches. No overcutting, no sanding or joining. It will do a good job cross-cutting, but it's not really a cross-cutting saw blade. It's designed primarily for finish ripping of solid stock, thicker material. It's available also in thin and standard kerf and should be used exclusively on table saws. What we're looking at now is a designated ripping blade. This is 20 teeth. It's got a 20-degree face hook, the same as the other Woodworkers. It's also a 15-degree alternate top. This is a speed rip blade, glue line ripping on all horse-powered machines. This is not designed for cross-cutting, will not work on plywoods. This is a designated speed rip blade. Power feeds, whatever you wish to use. Doesn't matter what your machine is, this saw blade will handle any type, any dimension stock that you put in it. And again, it's only to be used on table saws. No other saw, it's too aggressive. This blade is available in both thin and standard kerfs also. What we're going to look at now is some of our specialty blades, or one of our specialty blades. This blade here is the Woodworker 2. It is a 20-degree face hook. It's a 40-tooth blade, 20-degree face hook, and it's an alternate top flat grind. It's called the #1 grind. This blade is designed specifically for 1/8-inch box joints, grooving, things of that nature, finger joints if you wish. It will groove on all types of wood. This is not a general purpose blade. This is a specialty blade. It will not cross-cut. It is designed exclusively for grooving 1/8-inch box joints. It is available in standard and thin kerf if you request the thin kerf, but it's standard 1/8 inch. And this is only to be used on table saws because of the aggressiveness of it. And remember, please, this is not a general purpose blade. This is a specialty blade for flat box joints. And now what we're going to go to is the ChopMaster blade. This blade is designed for miter saws, sliding compounds, can be used on a radio saw. This is an 80-tooth blade. It has a 5-degree negative face. It's got a 30-degree alternate top. It's a general purpose blade. It has 4 alternate tops followed by a flat raker. The raker cleans out the sawdust, so it gives you a truer, tighter, cleaner cut. The plate because it's a heavier plate, it eliminates the blade flutter, so you have no cut deviations. It's to be used on chop saws, sliding compounds, miter saws, and radio arm saws. The next blade is going to be the ChopMaster blade, but this is our signature line. This is a 90-tooth precision trim blade. This blade is designed to be used for cutting your crown moldings, your picture framing, your pre-finished composite materials, things of that nature. It's a 5-degree negative face, 30-degree alternate top, but it has 2 alternates followed by a raker. The heavier plate maintains stability for precision cuts. The raker cleans out the sawdust so the blade does not overload and flutter. And this should be used on your chop saws, your miter saws, your sliding compounds, and it can be used on a radio saw. This is the Duraline High AT. This blade here has 80 teeth. It has a very high 40-degree alternate top with a 5-degree face hook. Can be used on table saws, can be used on a radio saw if you wish, but this blade has also been rated the very quietest saw blade in the entire saw blade industry. Now we will come to our dampener, as we call it, stabilizer, stiffener, many different terms for this product here. This is a 5-inch, and on a 10-inch saw blade, this will give you the ability to cut a full 2-inch piece of stock. The purpose of the dampener is it will disperse the vibration that comes from your motor, travels through the pulley system to the arbor where your saw blade sits. With this setting on the base of the saw blade, it eliminates the flex of the blade, and it will reduce noise factor in saw blades 20 to 50% depending on the saw blade. I want to remind everyone, safety equipment is very necessary. You need your hearing protection. You need your glass protection, your eye protection. You should use push sticks or different types of materials to push your equipment through, because I'm demonstrating and I can't use the equipment to demonstrate and demonstrate properly, which would interfere. I don't use my shields because you couldn't see that well when I'm doing the demonstration. So please use all your safety equipment. I will use a disclaimer on this. We recommend certain things, as you'll see in the demonstration. You can cut with your saw blade at any height, any dimension that you wish, but I'll explain to you in the demonstration why we recommend certain applications and certain procedures. Thank you. What we're going to do, we're going to demonstrate the new 70-tooth ply veneer worker. This blade is designed specifically for ripping and cross-cutting plywoods, veneer, composite type materials, vinyl clad materials, things of that nature. It's designed for the cabinet shop and the hobbyist. It has 70 teeth, 35-degree alternate top. It's got a 10-degree face hook, which means it feeds very, very easy on a table saw. This blade is designed exclusively for table saw use only. You're going to really enjoy what's going to happen with this blade. We're going to do a rip on some plywood. We're going to do some cross-cutting on the plywood. We're going to elevate the blade. We're going to drop the blade down just to show you the difference in what this saw blade does with this higher 35-degree alternate top. This blade it's just a honey of a saw blade. I can't explain it any other way. It feeds very, very easy for your ripping on your sheet goods, because of the 10-degree face hook that we have here. The 35-degree alternate top is going to give you perfect cuts top and bottom. And it is priced moderately so that the hobbyist and the cabinet shop can afford these saw blades. It is not an industrial blade. I'm going to do a rip on this. I'm not turning on the dust collection system simply because of the fact I couldn't talk over the top of it. So here we go. Ripping. Allow that blade to stop before you ever reach over the top of the saw blade. There we go. The machine has stopped. Now what we're going to do, we will show you, this is the top side of the cut. Here's the bottom side of the same cut. Absolutely no tear out. This is what you're looking for. If we have a thinner piece of stock like we do here, I'll do a rip on this and show you what it can do on this piece here. I'm going to drop the height of the blade so the gullet is approximately at the top of the material as it is right here. Now we'll run it through. And if you look, you can notice the higher alternate top as the blade exits. Can you get that? Okay. There we are. Finish the cut, and again, I'm going to allow the blade to stop before I reach over the top of it. So here we are with a thinner piece. Now this is finished ply, birch veneer ply. Perfect cuts, top and bottom. With the same blade, we're going to do a cross cut. We'll use some heavier stock, we'll use a thinner stock. And again, I can't stress this enough, use your safety equipment. Now, again, I want to run this up so that the gullet is at the top of the material, and these are the cross cuts. But make certain when you're doing your cross cutting, if you just ripped and you've done some thin ripping or something, that this fence system is moved away so it doesn't hook in between and come throwing it back at you. There's the bottom side of the cut. There's the top side of the cut. Perfect cuts. And that was really with pretty much a production feed. Let's take a thicker piece of stock, like the one that we ripped here, and let's do a cross cut on this. And again, I'm going to bring the blade up, but I'm going to run it up much higher. And we're running oak veneer here, okay? So I want you to see this, even with the blade elevated higher, normally you run the blades lower so that you get a shallower stroke per tooth, so you get a better finish. Let's see what it does on this one. Okay, top side, bottom side. Look at that. Absolutely no tear out. And that was with the blade elevated. We'll drop the height of the blade now the way I would like to run it, with the gullet at the top of the material when you're doing your cross cutting on your ply veneers. And here's the bottom side. Again, perfect cut, top and bottom. So if you're looking for a blade that's going to give you years and years of service, and you want to designate it for cutting plies, veneers, composite materials, things of that nature, it's a 70-tooth Forrest ply veneer worker. Put it on and have fun. We're going to talk about the Dado sets, the Forrest Dado King. This blade's become available in 6, 8, 10-inch, and you never ever, I very seldom ever sell a 10-inch Dado set. They're too big, they're industrial use blades. This is a 6-inch. It will give you a groove of a depth of approximately 1 inch or a little better. An 8-inch will give you a groove of about 2 inches. So therefore, it's something to consider about what you're doing, the depth of your material that you're working with, things of that nature. This blade, the Dado set, is 24 teeth. It's got a 10-degree negative face. It's got an alternate top and then followed by a raker, alternate raker. Even a dummy like myself can figure out how to put this on because it says this side out, and they must be applied properly, as everyone knows. So this side out, the other side out. Also, it's a stacked dado set. The stack comes with 1/16 chipper tooth, a 3/32 and 4/8 inch chippers. The 32nd gives you the ability to stack out in increments of 30 seconds. Forrest has 4 chipper teeth per wing. Critical points on dadoing. Number 1, you must have a precision channel. You need a squared shoulder. You need a flat bottom. And when you're cutting plies, veneers, melamines, things of that nature, absolutely no chip out, no tear out. And that's exactly what you're going to receive with the Forrest Dado King. So these are critical points when you're looking at purchasing a dado set. Also in the set are magnetic chippers. There are 2 10,000ths, 2 12,000ths, and 2 15,000ths magnetic shims. What this does, it enables you to stack your channel out to the precise measurement that is necessary, and also you have the 3/32 blade that gives you the ability to stack out in increments of 30 seconds. Plywood is no longer consistent, and what you need to do is have a specific groove for the application you're going to be performing. So therefore, this comes right along with the set. Comes in a nice handy carry-in case, and if you put this on, you're going to be totally amazed at the quality of work that you can do with your dado set. So enjoy it, have fun, and happy woodworking.
An American tradition, crafted quality, yours for generations. We've got everything you need. Woodcraft, we can show you how to build it. With the tools you want, the help you need, the service you deserve. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.